Hey there. Welcome to Freedom by Design. Anywhere is possible through e-commerce. This is a Listing Studios podcast where we're going to flip the script on what work and freedom can look like. Have you ever dreamt of building a business that lets you do life your way? Whether it's traveling the world, spending more time with your people, or even saying goodbye to that boss of yours, then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Tina, global entrepreneur, e-commerce enthusiast, and your guide to turning your dreams into a reality that works for you. Here, we're diving into creative strategies, real-world tips, and share stories that will inspire you. So, go grab a coffee or wine, I'm not judging. Let's get comfy and let's talk about how to design a business and a life that you're obsessed with. Let's get started. Welcome to Freedom by Design. Anywhere is possible through e-commerce. I'm your host, Tina, and this is the podcast where we talk about designing a life of freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, and using e-commerce as a vehicle to get there. But today's episode is going to be a little bit different. So, my mom has asked me several times, what is it exactly that you do for a living? And she's not the only one. Some of my closest friends, people who I've known for years, they still don't fully understand what it is that I do. And just the other day, I got a call from a friend who saw my Instagram post about launching this podcast. His first words, "What the F are you doing again?" And, fair question, right? I mean, if you've been following me, you've seen me do a lot of different things. Running businesses, helping brands grow on Amazon and on Shopify, launching my own e-commerce brand, opening up a boutique, traveling the world, and now launching a podcast. And this conversation with my friend, it led to some really interesting questions, actually. What exactly is it that you do? Who's actually going to listen to this? Why does it even matter? Not everyone wants to work while traveling, Tina. Not everyone wants to be in e-commerce, Tina. I get it. And I realized something right there and then that I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. So I try to explain to everyone this way. I would ask them when they ask me what it is that you do, I would ask them, well, have you ever purchased a product from Amazon? And most would say, yeah. And then I would say, well, you see those images of the products, the information about them, maybe some videos. And they would say, yeah, okay. Well, that's what my agency does. So, for example, if you come to me and you tell me that you want to start selling, let's say, this microphone for podcasters on Amazon, that normally would be the extent of your knowledge. Then you would reach out to agencies like mine to get all of the things that are needed to start selling on Amazon. Go and check out episode number 3. That's where I drop for you the different core parts of an Amazon listing. And now with this podcast, I'm sharing the journey, what it actually looks like when you build a life of freedom using e-commerce. You see, my business model is also an e-commerce business model, even though I'm not selling a physical product. I'm selling services. And I think I got a little bit of an aha moment from my friend. Our conversation went round and round and round and round, and I think it led to this one question still. Okay. But like, who's actually going to listen to this? He wasn't being mean because he's not capable of that. He just doesn't get it because this podcast isn't for everyone. Not everyone wants to build a business. Not everyone wants to work from anywhere. And not everyone wants to design their own freedom, which I don't get, but some people do. And I'm here for them. For as long as I can remember, I've taken risks. I've followed my gut, made bold moves, stepped into the unknown without needing permission. Some of my closest friends, they saw this in me before I even realized it in myself. They weren't surprised, though, when I walked away from the corporate world, started my own business, and decided to just do things on my own terms. But outside my circle, that was a little bit different. I would meet people who'd tilt their heads, trying to figure me out. They'd ask, So, what exactly is it that you do? And when I'd explained, their response would be something like, "Oh, interesting," with that, skeptical tone that says, "I don't really get it, but all right." And for a long time, I tried to clarify to them to get them to understand. But I've also learned something over the years. Not everyone is going to understand your path, and they don't have to. I've stopped trying to fit into other people's expectations because the people who do get it, they're the ones that are already searching for something different. The ones who want to hear what I do and immediately think, tell me more. And those are the people that I'm here for. Now, I didn't have someone show me this path. No mentor, no blueprint, no example of what it looked like to build a business online, to be able to just work from anywhere, or create a schedule on my own terms. Instead, I became that person. I figured things out through trial and error, taking risk, and trusting that I could create something bigger than what I saw in front of me. I didn't need to see someone else doing it to know that it was possible. I just needed to be curious enough to try it. And over the years, as I built businesses, traveled, created this unconventional life, I started attracting people who had that same energy, people who were intrigued, not skeptical, people who asked how, not why, people who weren't afraid to step outside the lines and design something different for themselves. And that's the kind of community I want to build with this podcast. If you've ever looked at your life and thought, man, I know I'm meant for more, then you are exactly who I'm here for. If you've ever had that restless feeling that there's something bigger, a freer way to live, but you just don't know where to start, then you're in the right place because you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be open to the possibility of something different. Speaking of not being for everyone, let me tell you a story and let me take you back to when Listing Studios was transferred to me about a year ago. At that time, there were clients in the pipeline. Some projects were actively being worked on, others we were about to start. But then the transfer happened, and suddenly these clients had to make a decision. Continue working with me at Listing Studios under a different ownership or walk away. And guess what? Some of them walked. Honestly, it bothered me. It made me feel so small. I sat with that feeling for a while, wondering, did they not trust me? Did they not think that I was capable? I was going to be the one doing this work in the first place, just under a different name. I couldn't shake the thought that maybe they only trusted the business because it had Matt's backing. Maybe my name alone wasn't enough for them. And for a while, that thought really weighed on me. But after a year of doing this on my own, building my confidence, and proving mostly to myself that I didn't need anyone's name attached to be successful, because the truth is, the right people stayed, the right people came back, and the right people found me. That's right. I wasn't for everybody, and I never needed to be. One of the biggest lessons I've learned, both in business and in life, is that when you try to appeal to everyone, you end up appealing to no one. Think about a brand like Harley Davidson. They don't market to everyone. They don't try to convince every person to ride a motorcycle. Instead, they speak to a very specific type of person, someone who craves adventure, independence, and the open road. They're not selling motorcycles, they're selling a lifestyle. If they started marketing to everyone, from casual commuters to soccer moms to eco-conscious bikers, their core audience might have felt alienated and just walked away. So instead of a tight-knit biker culture, they would have become just another motorcycle brand. Instead of live to ride, ride to live, you'd get something like Harley Davidson, a motorcycle for everyone. Sounds boring, right? There would be no emotional hook, no sense of belonging, and no tribe. Harley Davidson is successful because they embrace their niche. They don't try to convert everyone into a Harley rider. They attract the right people who already want what they offer. And that's the same approach that I'm taking to my business and now this podcast. I'm not trying to convince everyone to care about e-commerce. I'm here for those that are already curious, the ones who feel there's another way to build their life, but they just need a little push in the right direction. Because when you know who you're speaking to, the right people, they're going to find you. And here's the thing. You don't have to know exactly what you want. You don't have to have a perfectly clear vision of your future. But if you ever have even the slightest curiosity about what life could look like, if you took a different path, if you explored the idea of financial freedom, time freedom, or location freedom, then this podcast is for you. Not because I have all the answers, but because I've been on this journey myself and I know what's possible. One thing that I've noticed over the years are two types of people: the ones who hear about something new and immediately say, that's not for me. The ones who hear about something new and say, what if I tried? Which one do you want to be? Because every single shift in my life, the businesses I've built, the places I've traveled to, the opportunities that I've created has started with the question, what if I tried? What if I could create my own schedule? What if I could work while traveling? What if I could help people build their businesses? And what if it actually worked? Every time that I've pivoted, there's been fear. But on the other side of fear is growth. If I had played it safe, I'd still be sitting in a cubicle somewhere, dreaming about the life that I'm actually living now. And I want that for you too, whatever your version of freedom looks like. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, I don't know if e-commerce is for me, I don't even know what I want yet, that's okay. You don't have to know. My goal isn't to convince you to do exactly what I do. My goal is to show you that more is possible, to help you figure out what your version of freedom looks like. If anything in this episode resonated with you, shoot me a DM on Instagram at Listing Studios and tell me, have you ever felt like people didn't get what you do? Let's talk about it. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, send them this episode, because sometimes all it takes is one conversation to open a new door. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of Freedom by Design. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you're feeling inspired and you're ready to take the next step towards building a business and a life that truly excites you. If you loved this episode, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who could use a little extra motivation today. Don't forget to connect with me on social media or check out our website at listingstudios.com. Check out the resources mentioned in this episode, and you'll find all the details in the show notes. Until next time, keep dreaming big, taking action, and designing the life that you deserve. Remember, anywhere is possible through e-commerce. I'll catch you in the next episode.